Hello, beautiful souls. This is Vinita Kumar, also known as Twinflameunion, bringing you guys in this week's pep talk and empowerment topic, which is twin flames and their children. This was a viewer's request for me to do a video on it, though I also have an article as well written on it, which I will link in the description box so you can actually read that as well. Now, there's some twin flames that are meant to have children, and we're going to be diving deep into this topic as to what that means for twin flames that are going to have children, and those that have already had their children. So we will talk about a few areas of that. For those that are new to this channel, please do not forget to hit like, share, and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell so that you do not miss any future videos. I have guided meditations, as well as I do monthly reading, as well as the pep talk series. So we've got all of that going, and of course, I always said that this channel is new, so there's not many subscribers yet. But when there's gonna be hitting a 5,000K or 5,000 subscribers or more, then I'm gonna be starting to bring other people as well into the channel so that you guys actually get a little bit of everything. So that is what I had said, so I'm gonna keep to that promise. Now, having said that, any topics that actually arise, as my usual, what I will do is I will link all that information in the description so you can have a look at the articles that I have already written, along with the children one that I'm going to be talking about. So without further ado, we will dive into this topic, and stay tuned. But before we do that, let's hit it. Welcome back. For those that want to book any sessions with me, you can do that directly from my website, and that link is also in the description box. You can purchase and book directly from the website, and also I want to add that 10% of Twin Flame Union sales also go to charity. All that information is also in the website. So let's dive deep into this topic, twin flames and children. Now, this is going to be a little emotional topic for me, because it's something that's very dear to me myself, because I am supposed to have 2 children as well. And so if I lose my marbles as I'm talking, or if I'm getting emotional, it's because of that. It's very dear to me because of the children that I already have started seeing. So I'm just going to say that off the bat, but I will try not to I'll try to somehow do this topic. It's not an easy topic to talk about, especially when you have such heavy emotions tied to it. So as usual, I have written down some of the topics that I'm going to cover. So I'll just kind of go over it. But before we go further into the topic, first thing I want to foremost clear, because there's a lot of confusion around the twin flame collectives on the children and what they are. Now, one thing that everybody has to understand is that the twin flame children that I am talking about today in this topic is only those children that have been birthed or they have already taken embodiment through their original twin flame parents. This does not mean the twin flames that have had children from other connections and marriages, relationships, and whatever have you that's there, that's fine. But I'm only talking about the twin flame children that are supposed to be birthed by the original twin flame parents, meaning that it's going to be your twin flame and you that's going to have this the children. So that's, I just wanted to take that out of the equation because a lot of people have children and they're twin flames, but they've had it from previous marriages, and then they meet their twin flame and then they want to call it twin flame children. They're only, in order for a twin flame children to be there, birth, it has to be between the two. Otherwise, it's just children, and they're not any less special. Let's make that very, very clear. They're special as well, and because one twin has already birthed them, so one parent is already there, genetically. That means that there could very well be that the person, the child, or the kid has some of the spiritual gifts already. Now that's not any different from other connections that are not twin flames or people that are not twin flames, because I also know many children that are born out of see, the thing is, some of these things are hereditary, right? Meaning that they the parents, if they've had some sort of gifts, then it's also passed down to children. And that's not just twin flames. Let's get that clear as well, because there's many that like I know a healer that is not a twin flame, and neither is her husband. They actually are soulmates to each other, and they have children. And because both of the parents are very spiritual and they actually have spiritual gifts and they actually practice it, and they're a healer and teachers and whatnot, they are light workers, so their children have actually they were born with some of the gifts as well. So this is what I'm trying to say, that that some of these parents also have that dynamic. So that's not any different from from the regular people. And there's some like you must have heard as well that some people are mediums and psychics and whatnot, and it's been passed down from generations, especially people that are shamans, as well. They've been passed down from generations as well of of their gifts. And so energy is fluid. We always say that in our spiritual community, and that's the reason why we say that, is because things do get passed from the family lineage, same as trauma, right? Same thing. So if the trauma is there from family lineage, it's the same thing. Or diseases as well. Think about this. If people have diabetes or heart problems or cancer and all that sort of thing, those kind of things also get passed down from family lineage as well, just because that's in the genes, right? So same idea goes for other people that have spiritual children. It's because it's somewhat hereditary, and you get that. I mean, mind you, for those ones that are twin flames, leading that path, you may not have been born with spiritual gifts, or actually that's not true. You were born with spiritual gifts, but you didn't know that you had them until you had your awakening and when the timing was right. So and for most twin flames that I have encountered, and I've encountered so many now, thousands, they all have some sort of spiritual gifts, or some of them are still dormant because they haven't done their own healing. Once you start healing, working with healers, and spending like just making investment in your overall journey, that's when you actually start to develop a lot of these dormant gifts that are there. And when you're actually healing, because you're healing, especially when you're healing past life stuff, when you're healing those kind of things, all the dormant gifts that were there in the past lives, they also start to, like, there's a portal that opens up, and you actually start getting those gifts again, from previous lifetimes as well. So this is why some of the teachers talk very heavily about healing, because especially past life, because there's so many things that actually show up in your healing. So this is why we emphasize, as some of the teachers, including me, that healing is not something that should be skipped. So that's what that is. And so I'm going to be today talking just about twin flames and their children, and not the outside, not the ones that have half the parent, because those ones, that's just like with any dynamics. I've had people get confused with that, where one is a twin flame, they've had a child, and then they met their twin flame, and the twin flame resonates with the child that's there. But the thing is that happens with any family dynamics, right? When you start to blend your family, it works the same way. It's just the way it is. Like, for example, I don't have a family like my own children or anything like that, but the only family that I have is my cat. And I know that that's something that, very specifically my twin flame had said when we were talking, is that, he doesn't have any pets, but he is an animal lover and he loves animals. So he accepted my cat, because that's part of the package anyways, So, I shared pictures of her to him, and, he just said that, that's, he's always loved animals, because, it's just something that, he's always done. So it wasn't something that I had to convince him to be an animal lover when he actually already is, sort of thing. So that's what I'm trying to say. And now this is a different kind of example, but I'm just saying that if you've had children from your other relationships, your twin flame will accept it as well, because that's just the way. It's a divine connection. So of course they will, and of course, in hindsight, when you go into a relationship that has already children or pets and whatnot, because if you love the person that you are connecting with, of course you will love everything about them, including their children, including their pets and stuff like that. It's just the way that human nature works, right? So for those that haven't seen that Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler's movie Blended, you might want to have a look at that. That's actually on Netflix, I believe. So if you have Netflix, have a look at it. It will just give you an idea what I'm trying to say, where families do blend, and there's so many movies, on that, even like movies that are in your culture, I'm pretty sure, right? And it's all about trial and error. Some kids are more accepting, some are not, but then at the end, they do accept each other, kind of thing. So but that's just life, that's just relationships, and that's just being part of the blended thing, right? So it's trial and error, but now again, it could be an easy situation where it's going to happen all seamlessly, and there's going to be other times when it's not going to happen seamlessly. So and that is all different for each connection will be different from the other, so you figure out what that is for your situation. But I just wanted to clarify that, because a lot of people are getting confused. And I also want to add that in order for a twin flame child to be birthed, it has to be in the form of some sort of medical science situation, whether it's through normal conception or it's through a fertility clinic, or it has to be that way, right? You can't just imagine that you've got this spirit baby, and or you've got you went ahead and had a relationship or one night stand with somebody, conceived a child, and then now you're calling it a twin flame child when it's actually not, right? You know, you can't claim that because that doesn't make sense, right? It has to be normal as it can be. It has to be, the DNAs have to be there. It has to come through some sort of normal conception. A lot of times, you know, in today's time especially, you know, age is not an issue, because as you know, that many older women are also having children, because it's the world is changing, right? I mean, people are way too busy trying to get their life in order, and in the early 20s, back in the time, actually back in my grandmother's time, I remember my grandma actually ended up having that's my mom's mom. She actually had a first child at the age of 13. Now, you don't really know what that means even at the age of 13, but I'm not saying that that's not happening in today's time, but I mean, there's more mothers that are having children in their 30s and 40s. So as long as you are living somewhat of a healthy life and you've got healthy situation, you just leave it to the universe and allow it to just come naturally as the way it should. Another thing I want to add is that because I deal with so many clients, and though I'm not a medium, but what ends up happening is in my sessions with clients, what I find is that if I'm sensing a child, then I tell them, and then what I tell them to do is just connect with the medium, because once the medium, an actual medium will be able to get better channeling with the babies or with the child on the other side, right? That had happened to me as well, so that's why I say that to people, that if I have sensed I usually tell them anyways, if I've sensed this, I've sensed it. So yeah, and I found the ones that I have sensed, let's just say it was 100% accuracy in terms of me sensing a child in today's time. I mean, if somebody told me this a few years ago that I would be able to do that, I would have just laughed, because there's no way that I would have known how to do that. But yeah, the ones that I have, identified or said, they've gone ahead and booked with a medium, and of course it was confirmed, right? So, and they were able to even connect with the child. So it's kind of nice to know that that is the case. Now, I know that, this times are shifting, because, we are in a different kind of phase where there's a lot of parents, twin flame parents, actual twin flame parents to each other, are supposed to have children, because there is a higher insight of that, and that's because now I'm going to go back to the light workers sort of thing, because these children, they're supposed to be ahead of their time in terms of the spiritual gifts, because as you know, that twin flames are very spiritual, so, and they have dormant gifts. Now, that all depends on your healing and how you are actually able to open up the Pandora box and start incorporating it in your life, sort of thing, right? So, but those twin flames that are destined to have children, they because it's already genetically there, that they're spiritual, they have gifts, whether it's something that has been opened up to them or not, it doesn't matter, it's there. So the children will also have it, through the lineage, right? So that's why I wrote in my article that they're very, very spiritual children. And Archangel Michael just confirmed. Sirens, I know you won't be able to catch that, but that's just, thank you, Archangel Michael. He's always on my side, so, he's just confirmed that. So, yeah, thank you. I like my job when spirits confirm some of the things that I say. Now, what I wanted to say is how spiritual a child is, the twin flame children or child is when they're born, that depends on their parents' healing as well. Because if the parents had zero healing, they didn't do any healing, working with healers, didn't work their past life issues and stuff like that, I want to say that the children will not be as spiritual. Their gifts won't be there, because then the child, when they grow up, I want to say that it'll be their own journey, and they will have to unlock those, just like the way that the parents have to, right? So that would be there as well. So it's very important for the ones. This is why, healing goes in many ways, and this is why a lot of times healers always say heal, because there's so many things, there's so many layers that it covers, and that's one of the things that it covers is just that, right? So yeah, I mean, it just yeah, I mean, if you've just think about it this way, that if you've done a lot of your healing, as parents, and now you've got these children that are going to be born, or child, can you imagine what that child will be able to do, or will be capable of doing, spiritually? Just think about that for a second, because you already, and then not to mention that you are also, when you've healed and you've started to incorporate a lot of your spiritual practices and stuff like that, on your day-to-day living, be it law of attraction, or just the principles of the spirituality, then the child is also, or the child or the children they're also very they'll start to get the conditioning from that young age, going forward, right? Because they will know this is the way it is. It won't be a shock to them when they grow up, 15 years or 20 years or 30 years of age, and they suddenly they get that shocking realization, right? Like some of you did. That's what I'm trying to say, because that's what it is, right? Like, I mean, you live a normal life. Like, my parents were not spiritual at all. They have no, like, my dad was not even religious. Like, he believed in God, but I never saw him praying. He didn't care for that, and he's my actually soulmate. He's from my soul family from the other side, right? He's one of my guides now. So it just goes to show that it's just the way that our family was. We didn't grow up being even overly that religious. I remember when I grew up to understand a little bit of a religion, I actually ended up doing a little bit of research on Hinduism and what have you, and I just started getting my own insights on it, because it was very important for me to be religious, right? So it's something that when I was old enough to understand, I actually ended up practicing it on my own, and that's just the way it was. Like, I mean, my mom talks about the fact that she did a lot of prayers and a lot of fasting and a little bit of that, but it's just something that I don't remember her doing all that much as growing up, because I guess by the time I hit, we were 6 sisters, so I was the 4th in line. By the time I hit, she had lost some of her spiritual, religious activities, so I didn't really see too much going on. The only ones that I remember is growing up around Diwali, when she used to make tons of sweets. That's a tradition that we have. Diwali is like an Indian festival, sort of like our Christmas sort of thing. So yeah, she used to make tons of goodies, and then she would do the prayer, and that's all I remember. I never remember. I didn't recall her doing much more than that. So I mean, if she said that she did, I believe her. It's just that I didn't see it. So what I'm trying to say is that all depends on your awakening, and just how much you are incorporating your spiritualism, your religion, and everything else with it to your upbringing when it comes to your children, right? So one thing I want to say, now this is something that a lot of you can actually resonate to, because if you were born slightly spiritual, or if you were aware of something is out there sort of thing, and I know that, and then some of you actually even had gifts, and your grandma or your parents or whatever have you told you not to practice it, and to just shut it all out and just lock it up, and just throw it in the river, and just do not ever go back to that thing, like, because it was always associated as evil or whatever, or they just didn't want to deal with it. So I know that a lot of you have had that. that situation with with the way that you were brought up. So try not to be doing that with your spiritual children, even if they are half, even if they have just one twin flame parent and not the two. The reason why I'm saying that is because you've got to take them very seriously and pay attention to what they're saying as well, because that's going to help in their upbringing. You want to give them as much support as possible, right? So it'll just it will just actually pan out their life a little bit better, because they were meant to be spiritual. So you can't suppress that. Having said that, you have to kind of work with your child. If you find that it's too much intensity for the child to bear at this time, then you can just ask the guides to just stop it for now and just let them grow, because it's something that I'm going to be doing as well when I have the children, right? Because that's another thing. You wanna nurture them as the best way that you can, and if they're kind of getting more spiritual ahead of their time, you have to almost say, okay, let's put this to a stop a little bit here, give it some time, let them grow, let them understand what's happening to them, and then they can incorporate. So those are some of the little things of upbringing that you can actually also incorporate, right? Because it's not easy to have spiritual children, because here you're trying to deal with the day-to-day parenting, and then you've got one more layer of them being spiritual, and you're trying to make them understand what it is. So it can be trying for both, for the parents and the child or the children, right? So just be mindful of that. The twin flames. See, another thing I want to say, a lot of because I deal with a lot of clients that are in their older years, meaning that their clock is ticking, and I always say to them one thing, that if they are meant to come, the only thing you can do is focus on your healing, and you do your part and let the universe do the rest, let your higher selves do the rest, whatever it is, right? I know that see, the thing is, if this twin flame children that's supposed to be coming, and you're in your later years, right, where you've got only a limited window where they will actually show up in your reality, think about your situation. And this is where it gets very reassuring, at least the ones that I've dealt with, meaning that fertility clinics, fertility treatments are not cheap, and they're not usually covered by your your local healthcare system. So because it's something extra, right? So what I'm trying to say is that the couple, usually the twin flame couple, what I find is that they're equipped financially to be able to do that. If one isn't, the other twin is. So it's just the way that I have seen it. It's because it's just the way that the role, it's the way that it's supposed to turn out, right? You got to trust the process. I haven't come across anybody so far in my, through my clients and whatnot, that cannot afford that, because that's what it is. I mean, there's so many things out there. You can even do surrogacy and stuff like that too, or in vitro, right? So just so many ways that you can conceive. It's not just the normal way, right? These days, there's, it's we are in 21st century, living in some of the most advanced countries that are able to do that. And it doesn't matter even if you're in a third world country, because even those countries have really good doctors as well, right? So and they know what they're doing. So you just gotta trust the process, and deal with it accordingly. But the money is there, between the twin flame couple, that I have noticed. So that part, do not worry about that. The only thing that I would say is just focus on your healing, work with the healers, because a lot of times you'll find that there's past life trauma around that needs to be cleared as well. And for those that are in your later years, you do not have that much timeline or window to do some of your healing. So that's where you need to make a pretty good investment as well, just so that you're able to keep along with the timeline, because healing also shifts timelines. You must have heard that from many healers and teachers and whatnot, and the faster you heal, the timelines shorten right that way. So that's a given, and I'm gonna stick to that because I believe that as well. So what else do I want to cover? So we've got, one second, let me just read, because I've been all over the place here, just telling you guys some of the things that and then I when it's coming in my mind, I'm trying to just say it all out, and I have the shortest memory these days because of my ascension symptom. Another thing that I always say is that almost, I want to say 95% of the time, the twin flames already sense their children, because in one way or the other they figure it out. So what I always say is that if that is the case, then what you need to do is I've always said that about naming children, because it's worked so far on a lot of twin flames, this theory as well as me. So I want to say, do name them, because once you name them, you will see validations as well. But, invest in a reading as well. Get a good medium to connect with your child. And I'm not talking about tarot card readings, because anybody can do that. I'm not saying that that's not a gift. It is a gift, because you need to have a good reader that can do that. But a medium is very, very different, because mediums actually can channel them, and your child or children will be able to come via the medium and give you some insights. And it's you cannot put a price to that. Once you hear them say something through a medium, I don't care. No money can buy that, that moment for you, because it's, I remember the first time, I'll go over my story a little bit after. I just want to bring out all the topics here that I have, and I'll come back to that. But I really, really think that that's important, that, you invest in your reading as well. Yeah, I've already talked about the past life trauma, because like I said, if you do your past life work, you will see some of the stories, and I want you guys to do that as well, right? Because you need to see it, heal it, clear it. I still haven't been able to clear mine, and I'm gonna go over my story now, because I've actually covered all of this stuff here. So yeah, next time in the community, if somebody's talking about twin flame children, just clarify with them that these children are actually the original twin flames and their child or their children. It cannot be half, right? It can be step parents, step child, step parents, step this, step anything. It has to be the original, and the other half, the half of children, half twin flame children, I'm gonna say with one parent, they do have spiritual gifts as well, and they would have quite a lot of things going on for them as well. So if you're a twin flame, or your twin flame has a child, or if you are a twin flame that has children or child, any of you, right? You will also notice some of these things as you are raising them. And I just want to say that now, just because a twin flame couple is having children does not make the other children that are already born any less special. That's not what the point is here of this video. So and there's no ego there, there's no nothing. It's just identifying, that what this means. But yeah, I mean, spirituality is open to everybody, and it all actually depends on the soul contract, right? Another thing I want to say is that souls always choose their parents. What this means is that you chose, whether you love your dad, your mom, your sister, or your cousins. Oh my goodness, I don't care. On a spiritual level, I just want to say, when you take your ego out, you actually chose all of that. And whether you would like to believe it or not, that's up to you. But yeah, you did actually choose your dynamics, and when souls choose to be birthed, they choose their time, they choose the place, they choose their parents, any souls I'm talking about, and they choose it with the planetary alignments, the coordinates. Everything is all pre-planned. So it's the way, if you're, if a child was born on the way to the hospital in a vehicle, that there's some stories like that too, right? Because they didn't have enough time. I'm just saying that that's just the way that the souls chose to be born. So it's everything is very, very concise and very, very precise. This is why people that do astrological reading or get their birth charts or their natal charts done, it's very, very concise, because you get your time of birth and your place, and all those kind of things are being asked because there's a reason for it, because it gives you a more well-rounded reading about how you can use that in your life navigation, right? Because everything is as per that plan. So yeah, there is no such thing as, if you've seen children, right? You've seen children, and now these children are going to come from another relationship, especially if you know that that's your twin flames that is supposed to father them or mother them or whatever have you, right? It will not happen. Not those children that you have sensed or seen, because that's just the way it is. It's either that or it isn't. So because they've already chosen, the souls have chosen who their parents should be. So it's very, very important, and I don't want you to think any less of the child that you have now. You obviously would love them, even if even if that was not with your twin flame. It doesn't matter, because that's the way that soul had chosen to come. So what I'm trying to say is, yeah, it's all part of the plan, right? So and of course, many of you knew that, but I just still wanted to clarify that, because and this is where it gets very, very confusing, because some think that they can have these children from other connections. They cannot, or their own child is a twin flame child when it's not, because it's only one parent there, and it's somebody else's DNA there. That's not the twin flames, right? Through other relationships and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, they're not less important, but they're not twin flame children, original twin flame children. So that's what it is. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that part out as well, because I think that a lot of confusion is around that as well. Now, so why I say that somewhere along you will get insights on your children is probably, it all depends on your own story, because everybody has a story, right? You'll have to dive deep into your story and just figure out what that meant. I knew of my children before I even met my twin flame, but I didn't know that that was supposed to be my twin flame children. I just knew that I was going to always have two children. That's what I was always being told, and all my life I didn't want to have children, because I didn't like them. I didn't care for them. I didn't want to have the hassle. I liked my freedom. I liked my life without, doing all the work and all this sort of thing. It was just not something that I actually was interested in. So that's just the way that I felt about children. And I grew up around children all my life because, if because I grew up with six sisters, and they were all in different timelines. As soon as my two younger sisters grew up, bam, I had nephews already, right? And I was still a child, so yeah, nephews and nieces. So I was already always exposed to immediate kids kind of thing. And then it was as time went by, my sisters always had kids and stuff like that, so I was always around children. But I love them all, because they're dear to me, because they're my nieces and nephews. But it was just like an aunt, it wasn't like they were my children, or I didn't feel the maternal instincts with them and stuff like that. I really didn't, because it's just, yeah, I just didn't, it was me energetically repelling that whole idea. So so it just goes to show. And yeah, I used to always get asked, oh, when are you going to have children, this and that, and that used to really annoy me. But there was a reason for that, and I'll go over that further along. So yeah, and I want to say about maybe almost 4 years ago, I was told at the time, I was already dealing with the catalyst, and he was already, the connection was there. He so yeah, I have a twin flame couple that they're very, very close to me, and they have two girls. And like I love them as well, because they're just really cute. And I just had an instant bond with them, and from the time that they were born. So and yeah, it's funny. I'll tell you a little joke here. I think it's the cutest thing. It's my friend, she always, whenever I call her, she'll say, "Hi, sexy," right? And of course the kids pick up everything. So they started calling me sexy auntie. So that's what it was. And then one time, my friend's husband, he learned that the kids are calling somebody sexy auntie. So he's like asking my friend, "Who is this sexy auntie that these kids are mentioning all the time?" So then she told who it is, and then just laughed. It was just funny. So I didn't ask for the name, but that's what I got, so from them. But yeah, so before they were born, or actually they were already born at that time, but I had in one of my visits, I had visited them. And then he just told me, like, because of course they're twin flames, so they have some of their spiritual gifts. Especially the husband is more spiritually aware of some of these things. So yeah, he said to me very specifically, he said, "Well, you'll have a daughter and then a son. It's the way that you always wanted it." And I'm thinking, here all my life I didn't want to have children. What does that mean? He's like, "Yeah, you always wanted your daughter to look after your son." I'm like, "Okay, sure, if that's what it is." So and that's what it was. And I didn't think much of it, because yeah, at the time my catalyst twin already had a daughter from another marriage. And so I thought that, okay, that would make sense. Daughter is already there, and then the child, or whatever, whatever, right? It's what I was being told. So fast forward to when I had already met my twin flame. He and I've shared this many times, where when he met, he started talking about his nephews and nieces. And he was just saying that he likes to work out. So so he was saying that his he always plays with his nephews and nieces, and each will come on each arm, and he'll try to flex, or I don't know how little they were or whatever, but this is just the way that he was telling me. And when he was telling me all of this, right away I picked up that of course most guys like children. It's, you won't meet many that don't, especially brown guys, meaning the Indian guys. They like children. It's very rare that you won't find them that they don't. It's just the way that it wasn't surprising to me that he liked children. And when he started talking about those kids, his nephews and nieces, I said to myself, like, okay, this guy wants to have children. And did I think at that time, I mean, I had just met the guy, so did I think much of it? Did I think that we would have children? Not at that point, because I didn't think that far, right? But one thing I knew was that he wanted to have children. And what I will tell you is that when he was talking about the kids, and when I learned about the fact that he wanted children, that didn't scare me. Usually I would run a mile away just hearing that part, because of the traumas that I had around that. But for some reason it didn't scare me, and all I knew was that he did want it, and that was it. I didn't think much else. So yeah. And 6 months, hang on a sec, about maybe few months after, he had, of course, pulled off, and I in a meditation, I actually it was actually a meditation where on every Fridays I offer limes to Goddess Kali. And if you've followed my story or have known anything about my situation, you know that Lord Shiva and Goddess Shakti, also known as Kali, they are my ascended masters that are guiding my twin flame journey. So I'll link that article there so you can have a look at it, as well as the video, because I've done a video on that. So yeah, I was doing the prayer, and then I was in that meditation, and I had seen that time my daughter, because there was another medium that had picked up on a son, maybe a month prior. She said that, yeah, I have a son that wants to be born, and that made sense to me, because yeah, I already knew that I had a daughter and a son that wants to be born. So that was nothing unusual for me in that sense. But yeah, at that time I had seen my daughter, and it was with my twin flame. So this is where the confirmation came that I'm not having my my child with anybody else. It's going to be him, right? Because it's and the thing is that because my twin flame and I, we look alike, our features are definitely there with our children. So and yeah, that child, because all I saw was he's in front of the house, and with really large trees around there. So and he's got his daughter, our daughter, he's holding, he's carrying her, right? So, and she's got a ponytail, and I mean, I've got curly hair, but thank God, she doesn't have the curly hair that I have. I don't care for my hair because I have bad hair days, and I like little waves, and she's got the perfect curls, and because his hair is straight. So so yeah, like, what I remember is that she's got like little curls around her face, and she's got her hair on a ponytail, because not all are tied back kind of thing. So and she's wearing a very, very light baby pink dress, almost like a white light, very, very light baby pink dress. And what got me was that she looks exactly how I look when I was that age, and she's about 3-ish there. Though she looks tall. She's got long arms and long legs. So, but yeah, and of course my twin flame looks older than what he is now. So I knew that it's gonna, it's gonna be, that is the future, right? So I had that glimpse, and I told you guys it's gonna be emotional for me. So yeah, it was and it was funny because I have a picture of myself in my bedroom, and I've got a I've got a mirror that you can put like it's a pure wood mirror, so and on the top you can actually put any kind of ornaments and stuff like that. So and I had done that. I've got a picture of my baby picture, and I actually have that, and I remember that was moved around a couple of times, and I'm thinking, who's moving this, right? And it was sort of my guides giving me some hints as well. So when I saw my daughter, it just kind of all fell in place, sort of thing. So that was something that your guides will also assist in, that is what I'm trying to say. So in my case, they did, and yeah, it didn't make sense why I was seeing my picture being moved, and I knew there wasn't anything evil behind it. Nobody was doing it maliciously. I just felt that there's a message there. So and of course there was, and yeah, it was oh my goodness. So anyways, yeah, I still remember how she looks, or I can picture it. It's too bad I don't know how to draw, otherwise I would have drawn her. But and this is the next part that I'm trying to teach here, is to Google them. I know that I Googled pictures of and then because I knew how she looked like, so it was easy, because the daughter that I have put in my article and whatnot, she's a celebrity daughter, so it's what I could find that looked the closest like her. So she is, if for those that are Indian watchers here, she is in my article. That's Raveena Tandon, Bollywood actress. That's her daughter. So it's the closest that my daughter looks like, that is out here born, that I could find on Google. So and it was easier for me to do that, because yeah, I just remembered that she has some pictures of her daughter when she was about that age, and so yeah, it's little similarities there, and enough to compare it, because I've compared it with my baby picture and my adult picture, and yeah, it's very, very accurate, and it just goes to show how specific genetics can be, because she doesn't have my big eyes, like my twin flame doesn't have big eyes like I do. She's got his eyes, so it's just something that I already pictured I've seen in my visions. So yeah, so it's just interesting how that all unfolds. But yeah, and her complexion is she's very, very light skin. So in fact, actually, even my my son as well, they're very, very light skinned, in complexion. And I've only seen a baby version of my son, so hard to tell the height from that. But of course, I mean, I know that my daughter, from what I had seen, she's tall, right? So yeah, so that's that story. And then a few months later, I knew that my son was around, and I had actually already felt my son's energy, but I just didn't I didn't see him or anything like that until I think a few months forward, when my twin flame's higher self, when I was getting a healing done with a healer, my twin flame's higher self ended up showing our son. And oh, I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. He's sitting on the floor, and he's I go up to him, and he just looks up. so it's very, very emotional. Like I said, it's not easy topic to talk about, and yeah, it's so anyways, I knew I was gonna do this. It's not easy because you see things like that, and your journey, and you're of course humbled, and yeah, so I saw him, and I think it was because I knew about my daughter already, and I was I was wondering why I'm not seeing him when I knew that he was already around, right? So yeah, and these kids are very, very smart, very, very smart. They they have personalities already, and I'll go over that. But I shortly after I had a medium reading, and my daughter ended up. I want to say our daughter because that's not fair. It's his daughter too, right? So so our daughter ended up coming into the reading, and what she said was, thanks for acknowledging me, mom. Thanks for acknowledging me, mom. And when I heard that, of course, you can't put a price to that at all. It's something. And then the medium's like, well, she's talking about pink. What does that mean? What is pink? And I'm like, oh, she's telling you that she's wearing this pink dress, and that's what that means. Because, I mean, in my vision, I had seen the pink dress, right? I mean, she could have been wearing any other dress, but, she is wearing the pink dress. So she happens to mention it very specifically about that. So when I got validated about that, I then decided to name them, because at the time I hadn't named them, and because my twin flame's last name is very, very unique. And of course, names define a person. At least I believe that. So, and that's why parents should be careful naming their children. Sometimes, you inherit really horrible names, from your parents because they, had no clue. But that's just unfortunate, I mean, it's 21st century. Go ahead and change it if you don't like your name. But I mean, I wish that parents would be, more mindful of, naming their children. So yeah, I decided to make sure that the names could go with his last name, because that's again, he's got a very unusual last name. So yeah, I ended up naming her that, and I named her Navneet, and the EET is actually in her name, in my twin flame's name, as well as my name. So it's and it's a sync that I saw automatically, and as soon as I named her, I started seeing her name everywhere, and that was a confirmation as well, because you physically will start seeing their names. It's without a doubt. I've heard already stories from twin flames that have done that, so it was just amazing. And yeah, she had already started to validate that, so I knew that. And I'm very, very particular about one thing, and that's about naming. I don't like I didn't want to name them something that they will eventually go ahead and change, because it's just something that I don't believe in, because names, like I said, are define a person. So it should be something that they would be proud to carry, sort of thing. And it's okay if they want to shorten their name. I know that I have a shortened name as well that my family members call me, and so that's okay. And that happens all the time. That's pet names are given, that's okay too. But what I'm trying to say is that yeah, it's very important that kids get like a name that they would be okay and not be ashamed of, because there's a lot of times when I see that in brown community or in Asian community where they actually, when they come into the first world country, they don't want to go by their original name, and I don't know what their reasons are, but I just think that it's just the way that I feel. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that that was the case, because of one thing that I'm very, very proud of my twin flame is that he kept his original name that he was born with. So he, meaning that he goes by that name, and that is the biggest like it's something that meant a lot to me, because I didn't want him to be called like some other name. It's just, yeah, I mean, like I just didn't want that. So it's good that he didn't do that. So yeah, I just wanted something original and authentic, and yeah, I also, because both of us are, he's Punjabi, I'm Indian, so I wanted them to have a name from our heritage, and not just some, like I didn't want them to have English names, because again, it's just part of our culture. So it was something that was thought out, and I put thought in it, and I'm glad that she approved it, because she's happy with what the name that she's been given. And then I didn't tie into it at all, because till like much later, actually maybe last year, the Goddess Kali prayer that I do on every Friday, where she showed me her for the first time. It just goes to show that how things can come full circle as well, because for years I've done the Navaratri prayer, and where I do actually fasting and what have you. I've done that for years, and so I've given my time, and the name that I chose, I didn't tie into that Navratri is there, and then Navneet, right? So the NAV is there, that's the sync there. I would have never known, and here we are. She's she's got that sync. So that also tells me right away that just the way that I had named her, that she's going to be so spiritual, and she's definitely God's gift that's going to come our way. It's just synced. You cannot even defy it. It's just the way that, or deny it. It's just there, right? So yeah, it's something that I thought. So she got the first portion of her name through Navratri, and and that's the, and for those that are not understanding what Navratri is, it's 9 days of praying to Goddess Shakti, and she's got 9 forms. One of them is Kali, and then one of them, there's so many, so you can have a look at it. So she takes 9 forms for the 9 nights. So Hindus, what they do is they pray to her, and and I've done fasting, for like, what I do is I do fast for that 9 days, 9 nights anyways, and that's what that's called. So yeah, there was a sync there, and I couldn't believe it, when I actually tied into that, because yeah, you sometimes do things unconsciously and you don't even have an idea. So yeah, so she started showing up her name, and then when I had seen our son, I decided to name him as well, and I named him Aryan, and that turned out to be okay with him as well, because I kept seeing AH everywhere, and I thought, before I had even seen him, and I didn't understand why I was seeing so much of the initials everywhere, right? Like initials, like I just kept seeing those everywhere, and I didn't understand it until I actually named him, and that's when it actually clued in that he had also chosen his name. So it just goes to show that we think, at least this is how it's being presented to me, that even souls sometimes choose their names. We just name them. And, if you think about it, it's very deep, because I think that in their case, they actually had chosen their names pre-hand. It's just a matter of me naming them, and I named them what they had already chosen pre-hand. So, it's just the way that interpreting the whole thing is. So yeah, and I've had many readings with the medium, and well, Jesus, the last the last reading that I had, our daughter. I keep saying my daughter here, but if my twin is watching, it's our daughter, okay? Yes. Anyways, our daughter, she did say, and that was something that I had already suspicion that she's going to be a tall child, because my twin flame is 6'4", so and I'm not that tall. I'm barely 5'7", so but I call myself 5'7". I mean, who's counting a millimeter here and there, right? So so I knew that they will be tall children, but she ended up clarifying that to the medium. She said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be a tall child." So it's so it was something that it was subconscious little fear, but you know what? It's just, that's okay if she's going to be tall as long as she's healthy. It's the main thing. But I just hope that she's going to be able to find somebody as tall as her dad, because I'm just, I mean, good thing is that Punjabis as a race, they are actually tall race. So when I say tall, anything that is 5'11" and above, for men, that's considered tall, right? Or so that's what the basketball height, right? So so yeah, I just it's a good thing that she's got Punjabi genes in her. So yeah, meaning that I mean, I hope that she's gonna be able to find somebody that tall, because I think I'll be the shortest one in their family, seriously. And I don't consider myself tall, short at all, because when I wear heels and stuff like that, I feel very, very tall. So yeah, it's interesting that she's going to be tall. So she clarified that as well, and they're very, very specific in that sense. When you get a good medium reading done, you actually hear these kind of stories, right? Another thing that I noticed was my son is very, very protective of me. See, the kids have already chosen their favorites already, and that baffles me, because they're not even born, but they've already chosen their favorites. And I hope that my twin flame is okay with this dynamics. I mean, they're both special, and I love them equally, but that's you know what I mean. Like, kids love their favorites, and our daughter has already chosen the dad. She's going to be daddy's little girl completely. She's actually daddy's police, and she's very, very particular about that. So I find I find that very cute. But yeah, she already has a personality, and so does our son. He's definitely mommy's boy, because he's just the way. Mind you, I think that most guys are mama's boys. I know that my twin flame is, and the guys usually are. What was I? I won't say that I was daddy's girl at all. Though I had a pretty good moments with my dad as growing up, but being brought up, I think we were always going to mom, because he was very authoritative, right? So, but as a child, I think I leached onto my dad more, if that makes sense, because I remember more. I mean, I've done my life gratitude journal, so I remember more incidents with my dad where I leached on with him as opposed to with my mom, because I don't remember the moments that I had with my mom growing up when I was really, really little. So I only remember the stuff that I, of my dad. So I want to say, as a child, I was maybe more drawn to him. So if that makes sense. So yeah, I guess you have to kind of look at your upbringing and just figure out where you are with that. But yeah, these kids are very, very particular. I know that another thing, they our daughter had done was, she had shown this medium her soul form, and she's been a medium for a while, so she's never seen that type of form before. At least that's what she said. She said, yeah, they look very, very different. So I don't know. I can't say that because I'm not a medium. I don't channel that way. I don't know what this means for the rest of the collectors, but I know that these children, they have never been born before. I've mentioned it in my article, and that could very well be that a lot of the children that are being born are probably brand new souls of twin flames. So yeah, you just have to, and this is why I say it's so important. I was maybe more drawn to him, so if that makes sense. So yeah, I guess you have to kind of look at your upbringing and just figure out where you are with that. But yeah, these kids are very, very particular. I know that another thing they our daughter had done was, she had shown this medium her soul form, and she's been a medium for a while, so she's never seen that type of form before. At least that's what she said. She said, yeah, they look very, very different. So I don't know. I can't say that because I'm not a medium. I don't channel that way. I don't know what this means for the rest of the collectors, but I know that these children, they have never been born before. I've mentioned it in my article, and that could very well be that a lot of the children that are being born are probably brand new souls of twin flames. So yeah, you just have to, and this is why I say it's so important to actually get your own reading done, because you actually will get a little bit more insights on that. But yeah, I do feel that a lot of these twin flame kids are going to be brand new souls as well. So yeah, it's there. Some will be like that, some will be old souls, whatever have you, right? So things are changing now in that sense. But yeah, that's what I was shown. So and I know that in my twin flames reading, astrological reading, it was a message that was brought out by his guides, because this guy, he also is sort of like a channeler, so he channeled that information with his guides, and he was told to ensure that my twin flame is having the most balanced diet, meaning that he shouldn't be eating like just any junk food and stuff like that. I mean, most twins should not be eating that anyways. If you're watching this, make sure that your diet is healthy, you're eating lots of grains, fresh fruits and veggies, good protein, whatever, even if you're a vegetarian or vegan, or even if you eat meat, whatever have you, whatever your diet is, just make sure that it's actually not processed, right? Try to stay away from those prepackaged stuff, unless you're making a big batch of food and you're freezing them. Those are different because you've actually made them. Just try to make sure that your ingredients are not too heavily processed, right? And drink lots of water. If try not to now have if you're bringing children into this world, try not to resort to too much drugs, and drugs can come in forms of many other things, you don't want to be, right, you don't want to be eating all that, having those kind of things, right? Give up some of your really bad habits like smoking, drinking, everything should be in moderation, whatever have you, right? Because you're trying to bring these divine babies, so you make sure that you are actually creating that nice vessel for the children to be birthed, in that environment. So, and there's one of the commandments that the Bible has is that your body is your temple of God, right? I think that's how I said it, right? Your body is your temple of God. So what that means is that you're supposed to look after your your body, right? And as best as you can, because yeah, you know, you're housing your soul. So, you know, and your soul is larger than life, right? So yeah, you know, and you know, all that sort of thing. So be mindful of your you know, of your diet and what you're doing. Make some changes, right? You know, sleep good, rest good, right? Do whatever have you there, and follow your doctor's orders, you know, sort of thing. It's kind of funny, like, I mean, this was the story of my children, but you know, the trauma that I didn't go over, and now I'm going to go over that very specifically. And this is why I say that this goes to show that whatever you're being shown is completely aligned to your healing. And when I started diving into my past life, I understood why, you know, why there's issues of me energetically repelling children, right? See, if my twin flame wants to have children, and energetically I'm repelling this whole situation with past life trauma, then yeah, it's, these kids are not going to be just coming. They're divine children, so they're not going to be coming to fruition with all the baggage that I've got. I've got to actually release that on a vibrational way, you know, and you can't fool that aspect with your higher self and your twin's higher self, and even them as a soul form, right? Who are you trying to lie to? So yeah, if they haven't come into fruition yet in my life, it's because I'm not ready yet to have them. As simple as that, and I need more healing. You cannot put a price to that. You know, you need to know that very, 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 very clearly. And the past life trauma that I'm talking about, that I had seen, healing, and continue to heal, is when I was birthing my child, right? My twin flames child, and him and I, we were married in few lives. And, you know, this is what has been shown to me about that. You know, I was birthing our child, and yeah, during that birth procedure situation, you know, I didn't make it, neither did my child. And, you know, it was one lifetime I held a grudge over, you know, that child. I had to ask for forgiveness. I had to do a ritual. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff, right? You know, because that's what it is. You know, it wasn't very pretty to learn these kind of things, because it's very gruesome things. So yeah, your journey comes, you know, there's more to it that people don't get to see, you know, until you actually go back and have a look at what's causing it to feel this way. And it actually explained in depth why I felt this way about children, why I didn't want to have children, because I was always scared of having children. Because, you know, it's that whole trauma associated with it, right? And you know, it separated my twin flame and I in that trauma. So yeah, it's not something that I, you know, I enjoyed, you know, and I carried that from that lifetime to this lifetime, right? So it's there. The trauma is there, and as much as I love my children, as much as I cannot wait to have them, they're not going to just magically appear, right? Before I actually bleed that all out, you know, whatever it is that I need to heal on, because that's something that I need to completely heal before they will come into fruition. So that's where working with healers help, because yeah, you can't just heal that. And then I have worked with a lot of healers trying to do that, and it's still an ongoing process. But the you know, last year, and I mentioned this to you guys, if anybody's watched my other video on this and how it actually ties in, is that last year, see, the thing is that, you know, on a subconscious level, when you have blocks like that, you know, having children, you don't even realize that how little things actually tie into the blocks, because here I was, though I've been single for forever now, 3 years, more than 3 years now, almost going to 4 now. So it just I still kept without going into details of what that is, but I still was not able to, I had looked after, the conception part, where women look after, if they don't want to have children, they look after it medically in some ways, so I had done that, and I didn't, you take the contraception, however way, right? There's so many different ways. So and I didn't think much of it till that twin flame couple friend that I talked about, somehow I don't know how, in a conversation it came up last year, around, let's just say September, October. And she said, oh, you need to look after that, because you need your body to reset, especially if you're going to have children and all that. I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think of that, and it didn't even clue on to me, and this and that. So I go to my doctor. This is where it gets interesting. I go to my doctor and I tell her, okay, you know what? I need to look after this. And she said, oh, you want to have children? And I'm like, well, without going into too much details to her, because she will throw me in the loony bin. Because here I am. How do you explain that? You have you have kids that are supposed to be coming, and your twin flame has ghosted you, and you don't have any other relationship, and Jesus, it's so, this whole journey, sometimes I tell you, it's stupid, but it's not stupid. So anyways, I told her, I'm like, yeah, I have, diplomatically I told her, I do have a couple of kids that are wanting to come, and if I'm meant to have them, it'll happen. I don't know how I said it. Then she started telling me, oh, okay, with the, let's get you in here, let's do this, blah blah blah. And so she sends me to the fertility clinic, and she's telling me, oh yeah, we need to make sure that your blood work and all that sort of stuff is all good, your hormones are okay. It'll give us an idea, and I'm gonna tell you that you try for 3 months, and if it doesn't work, then you come and see me, because we need to get you into the fertility clinic, and we're gonna start getting on. I'm like, okay, hold on. What? And that's how I thought to myself, and I went with the flow, because I thought it was so stupid. The whole thing was so stupid, but then I'm going through it. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So I go to the fertility clinic, and and of course, all that procedure is done, this and that, and I'm getting a goodness, I feel even stupid telling you guys this, but then she gives me a birth chart, the conception chart, and she's like, yeah, just follow this, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how? I don't have a twin flame around how is this even supposed to happen, when I haven't heard from my twin flame in now 28 months. What does this even freaking mean, right? He's ghosted me for 28 months. It was just stupid. So anyways, I just started laughing. I just thought it was the stupidest thing. And that was October 26th. And that was last year. So this, for those that are going to be seeing this video much into the future, that would be 26th of October 2020. 3 days later, my twin flame unblocked me on WhatsApp. That was 29th October 2020, after ghosting me for 28 months. So what this means, that all the stuff that I have seen, all the stuff that I had healed on, that was the biggest confirmation. And I was laughing because I thought it was the stupidest thing with the universe. Are you kidding me? I haven't seen my twin flame or this and that, blah, blah, blah. What does this mean? And, all this sort of thing, and here it is. I think this was the biggest joke on me, by the universe. I didn't think it very funny when he had unblocked me after 3 days. I had removed that thing that had would have prevented me from having children, energetically, and bam. And of course, I would have not known all these things. It was all in timing because I wasn't supposed to, right? So, and then I went. I was given. I was told by their, the gynecologist to start taking prenatal vitamins. Start doing that as well, and I had another coworker that was talking about the prenatal vitamins, that she was also told to take those because she's not pregnant, but it was funny. Just goes to show that my sensitivity is so high now because she was trying for about, I don't know, 5 months, I think. And then finally when she conceived, she didn't have it officially checked, but as soon as I saw her, and I hadn't seen her for a while, so when I saw her, it's just that energy was there, and I'm like, oh, you are pregnant, and she's like, yeah, I feel it too, but it wasn't confirmed by her or by the doctors. And sure enough, when she went and saw the doctors a few weeks later, she was confirmed that she is. So it just goes to show that I just sensed, even in her case, I just knew it as soon as I saw her. I was like, okay, yeah, you are. So yeah, that just goes to show that we are not supposed to doubt the process as best as we can. You need to trust what is happening. You do your healing, do your past life, connect with healers, and just figure out your story and go from there, right? So yeah, whether these children are supposed to, my children, whether they're supposed to come in fruition with my twin flame, if what I have said is that you have to be very, very clear with what you want. I know that I've already said that to my friends, even that if it's not our children that we are gonna have, those 2 children that I've already seen, then yeah, I'm gonna just say that's I'm very clear at what I want. I've seen them. I bonded with them for so long now, and I look forward to when they wish me. Valentine's is coming, and I cannot wait to have them wish me. It's amazing. So I mean, they wish us on Mother's Day, Father's Day. And it was funny because last year my cousin said to me, well, why don't you tell them to to wish each other. In Indian culture, the sister ties this string on the brother's hand, and the brother is supposed to take care and look after the sister, sort of thing. It's sort of like a bond. And because I didn't grow up with with any brothers, I never really did that, but of course, my twin flame, he has 2 older sisters, and that's where the story ties in, because it wasn't me that wanted to have a daughter and a son. It was my twin flame, because my twin flame has 2 older sisters, and they grew up in the dynamics. So that's where that story tied in as well, because yeah, that was all about his wishes and how he grew up. And he was the younger brother, and the 2 older sisters looked after him, so he really liked that aspect. And subconsciously, maybe he manifested that, because that's what's going to happen in our situation. It's something he looked at, because yeah, I had 6 sisters, so I wouldn't have thought of that. And in my lifetime, I had all these children blocks and issues, and didn't want to have anything to do with them. So yeah, I definitely didn't think of any of that stuff along those lines, because it wasn't something that I had envisioned. But yeah, it's and yeah, so sure enough, they're so dutiful. It's one thing when children are born, you can teach them these things, but just goes to show how special they can be. That, you know, see, anybody can get wishes. Any parents can get wishes from their children when they're already here, right? You know, they're born. But to get wishes from them so religiously, you know, from the other side, no, you can't put a price to that. It's priceless. So I'm not saying that, you know, the kids are not priceless that are born here, but, you know, they're there. And yeah, so I asked them to acknowledge each other, and sure enough they did, and they gave me signs. So they're very, very, you know, I'm just thankful, and I hope that my twin flame can you know, see them as well, because yeah, it's, I don't know whether he does or not, but I just hope that, you know, he's I know that they go to him all the time, but it depends on his ability. I suspect that he, you know, he's seen them already, and because when he was at my place, he saw some pictures and stuff like that, and that scared them. Like, he was already in a deep thought, and yeah, I just feel like that he's definitely you know, thinking he must have seen them. So, and that's, you know, there's so many stuff like that, there's so many things in that sense. So yeah, it is what it is. I even remember just before he unblocked me, I had a conversation with him in my dreams. And twin flames, you know, I've written articles on dreams and what they mean. So in the beginning stages of my journey, I didn't see him much in my dreams, but lately, last maybe 4 months or so, I just started to see him a lot in my dreams. And, you know, his mom came one time, and I've never met the mom. So yeah, she mentioned to me how, you know, he loves me, and, you know, just as much as I love him. So, you know, she just kind of validated that, you know, and that was, I didn't know what to make of that. So I was already getting all these dreams. And then there was one time in one dream when I had said to him that, you know, listen, you know, like, we need to think about the children here and stuff like that, because, you know, I know that you're rich enough to to look after the expenses and stuff like that, in terms of you know, surrogacy or whatever have you, you know, but, you know, it's your choice what you want to do, but, you know, you shouldn't be putting too much of a timeline here. I don't know, I said that in my dream, and would I say that in real life? I have no idea. You know, because I try to not worry about that outcome. I'm just trying to deal with my healing and all that. And unfortunately, or fortunately, you want to say, those that dive deep into the healing, they will be the first ones that tell you that you don't have the energy for anything else, because you're so wiped out, you know, and you're so exhausted about your healing and, you know, your journey, that, you know, you don't have much time to ponder on all these kind of things. I mean, it's there in the back of your mind, but, you know, it doesn't override your life, and you don't just get so attached to it, right? Because you don't have the energy. That's what it is, you know. So, and I'm usually so exhausted, you know, with my hectic life, that, you know, I don't put that much emphasis and energy on it. It's one of the things that I had to let go as well, was the outcome, because, you know, it was part of my fear as well, you know, and it's something that I had to heal on. And the more healing you do, the more you feel, you know, like you heal those kind of aspects where you feel like, okay, you know, you don't have to worry about it, or the ability to control situations and what have you. This is how I've, you know, seen it in my journey too, right? Like, you know, you totally get out of that zone, right? So yeah, you know, and in that dream, I was mentioning it to him, and he gave it a lot of thought. And in his thought expression that he had, you know, he obviously wanted it just the normal way as opposed to that, you know. So, and, you know, I thought that was an interesting dream, but that was again in the dream. And how that's gonna look in real life, it's hard to say. But for now, I know that I'm fairly normal. My tests and stuff like that came very, very normal. So yeah, so it sounds like it's going to be a normal situation so far, unless, there's the 10-year wait here. Don't ask. I don't know what that means then after. But yeah, if it's going to be, in the proper time frame is the way that it should be, then yeah, it should be okay. So yeah, my advice to the women that are a little bit older and you feel that your clock is ticking, just know that you just got to have faith, do your part, and allow the universe to do theirs, right? And that's I know that's something that I was already thinking as well, because here there's 2 children, not even 1, and how the heck is that supposed to happen? And they're not twins. I already know that aspect as well, because they're gonna be coming, separately, right? So yeah, it's whatever it is. If they're meant to come, then they'll come, and their own timing and not my timing. So and that's what I'm gonna say to everybody else. If they're meant to come, they'll come in their timing, is the way that it's supposed to be, and not on your timing. So give up that idea, stop trying to control that situation, and do your best in your healing, because the more you heal, the faster you can cut the timeline there too. And it's of course connecting with the right healers that can do that, because that's another thing, right? I always emphasize on that too. So ask for guidance, and you'll get some insights on what to heal and where to heal. So and book with the healers and work it off and see what happens. So with that, I hope that it was a very lengthy video. Wow, 1 hour and 30 minutes, a little bit more with the beginning part. So anyways, I hope that you guys found some insights on this, and I'll link these articles that I talked about in the videos so you can have a look at it. Trust the process. Trust that whatever is being shown to you is part of what it should be. And you don't know 100%. Nobody can guarantee that, because you're not meant to know 100%. But just enjoy them for now. I know that I am, if you're sensing them in the future. And I know some of you also are expecting them. I mean, if you're expecting them, then that's it. They are already here, right? It's just a matter of them coming out now. So, you won't get those kind of soul things and all have you. So just rewind back to my pep talk in the same video, but just how to bring them up. And yeah, I mean, if you didn't do much healing, then yeah, don't expect that the kids are gonna come very gifted and spiritual. It's something that they will have to unlock on their own, to an extent, and to an extent they will be. So but then we are divine beings in a human body having infinite experiences, right? So and there is no limit to any of that stuff. So yeah, they will come with a little bit of it, and then some of it they will have to work. But it's I know that I've already thought of this, that I already started eating healthy, and watching, looking after my body. I know that if I'm gonna be having them, then yeah, I'm gonna be giving up caffeine and stuff like that. Like, I'm just gonna be very, very pure. So I mean, alcohol I wouldn't have had anyways. I'm not a big drinker, but I do like my drinks here and there with company. And but yeah, I stopped eating processed food, so I don't eat those. Actually, to me these days, if I do eat processed food, it feels like I'm eating plastic. So it just goes to show that you start enjoying like the whole foods, the good food, and all that sort of things. So versus the processed stuff, right? But yeah, I'm finding that a lot of these things are already getting me prepared energetically, and it's not something that I did purposely. It's something that's happening to me as I'm going automatically, right? So I'm finding that I'm getting away from those kind of things. And yeah, it's just the way that my body is handling it. So yeah, it's a good thing. And we'll see what happens. I mean, stories always change, but for now, this is my story, and this was Twin Flame Union, bringing you guys twin flame children.